That's a convo. What's the Golden Eagle where they have the groups at Mondo, upside down, and her boyfriend was a barker. The guy, I think she even got married. But it's a son. How much is it? Yeah, that's all gone. It's all gone.
But it's 200 where I'm at.
Ah, good.
Sea lions now. And today I started working on my classroom.
So when do you actually go back?
Monday.
Oh, well, you actually knew what you were doing and where you were going and everything.
Yeah. I mean, other than I've got to start teaching computer science, which I was really No, other than that, I mean, everything's pretty much in place.
Where is it? Across the
You didn't have summer school or anything like that. You just neatened it up and took a year.
Yeah, they have,
Oh, okay.
well, they rented the place out to summer program. But yeah, it's meetings tomorrow and Friday and Monday.
That's a little more expensive.
Yeah, it's about 350 a year.
Yeah, oh, really?
We have a new math program starting these days.
I need to have
But
this.
it's like I say, I'm like fourth or fifth. So the current thinking is that I'll do fourth grade to start, because the starting units are the same, pretty much. And then I'll do fourth one time, fifth the next, and depending on whoever is.
I'm going in and out of the sinus infection. Yeah, I'm
I mean, I
gonna
don't come to
It
see if there's something.
was like, it was tearful and painful. It was just like, at one point they said, well, how do you feel? I
I'm
said,
totally focused on finding
anxious, not ready, scared. And there's a tinge of excitement in there because this could be pulled off somehow, but I don't know.
Well, no, I want to live with it.
I think it's part of this deal,
Stay,
you know,
but it takes forever.
Yeah.
It takes for you to, but that's not even much. I'm gonna.
Yeah, well, we're kind of, I did the advanced thing on the
it's
gym side. But we're not switching over to
There's one guy, a tower there. You know who Kira Land is?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time, once again, that you have come here to sally forth into the realms of poetry, poesy, etheric arts, knocking about, and about knocking, and without knocking, or with knocking. So, I am addressing you now. We're looking for a pen. A pen has been found. Please sign in and reinvest in America today, because, folks, we need more money for more people, less jobs and harder work, and more of all that too. Because those millionaires, you know, they're suffering. Stock prices are down like 2 or 3%. And when you add all it up, that's trillions of dollars that they just haven't been making the last 6 months. So you gotta give them consideration. They're crying all the way to the bank, ladies and gentlemen. So harder work, less money, and more of it too, to make a difference in this world as you know it, as they would like it. And I'll stop talking right now.
Who's going to be here?
Oh, I'll get to that as soon as the talking ceases and I'm able to focus myself and organize my thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kick it off.
So the quake may have taken that long.
Good to see you.
How long does it
Pretty
take
soon.
to write your name?
Oh,
I know a
crap.
lot of places I can see it.
As they say in France.
Okay.
Oh, crap.
But I wanted to tell you something else.
Oh, what's the other?
You know, when I was reading here, you were so great the way you were listening. I really wanted to
Oh, I
thank
was
you.
listening to everybody. What's that? And sometimes I doze off.
So this is the
I'm
key to my-
wondering,
Yeah, oh, this is the key to my car.
Oh, good.
And it's
Well, you know, one of the things that.
in front of the, see that Volkswagen van that's orange?
Yeah.
It's the blue car right in front.
Okay.
Go to the Trump.
Yeah.
National Geographic.
Okay.
I wanna do that.
Okay, yeah, you can trust me with that.
Yeah.
If I can't find the car, I'll be back.
Yeah, yeah, well,
That's reading.
Get some out of somebody else's truck.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
That was probably, I probably filled this out in a time before, but now I've goofed it up, it is not that person.
Oh, here's the shady
If you just signed in, you gotta sign, I forgot, that's,
Sign it again?
yeah, just, I'll put everybody in the right place.
Okay, where?
Oh, hi,
where-
I'll put everybody in
Hi.
the right place. Nice to see you.
It's,
Oh, it's some guy trying to put you in your place.
no, Priscilla Waffington, that's it.
Oh, I never heard that.
She's really cool, saw her at a reading that I did with a teacher at, and I said, why don't you come here sometime? And then, I don't know who,
Here.
can you put her?
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Sorry about the confusion, ladies and gentlemen. I'm used to it, but that doesn't mean you are.
Dan, where's the prison neutral?
We are in Scottsdale Place, which is in the far eastern vales of our fine and wonderful Bay Area. You know, she's, is this 1961?
What?
The year of the. Oh, okay, then this is not. Is this 1961?
Boy, I'm glad you were asking about the
God, darn it.
magazine.
Okay, well, we got some National Geographics going here.
God, for a minute, I thought you were asking about the
Is
day.
this Jack O'Neill? Is this Jack O'Neill?
That's Jack
The
O'Neill.
very Jack O'Neill?
The one and only, the infamous and famed, the defamed
Is this, but
and
some was
fabulous.
last week, right?
Yeah, that's because I left that page in.
Oh, here.
There we go, you may sign in as you please.
I got you.
Thank you. I did get your email, by the way.
Oh, good. Yeah, so the other thing is like, if they're young and they're minors, there might be something, because people come here,
Right.
do whatever they do, and then, you know.
No, I mean, I would talk to you about that. and,
Yeah.
I mean.
So my idea is like, you're the filter.
No, I understand.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
Maybe you know Randall.
Sign first,
No, I worked with him, so even if you have something like this, like when he was their teacher.
Okay.
Um,
And what we can do is like, I was thinking, either have an evening where we just make sure there's a bunch of them on the open. Or have an evening where do features. Or it's like a series of, something where we got a bunch of minutes.
During that
I don't know how
inning,
many-
they score seven.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know that they sometimes just
But
rest.
it is difficult because it's.
They don't even have any private.
Yeah.
But if they do that, it can be on the radio.
Okay.
So I was really happy since he
So they
had a
are
hard time.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
don't
but we
really
did.
More like a group.
All right.
Good
Good to hear. You know, they had a little bit of relief
So
after him, but
if we did like.
he
a-
pitched six.
But yeah, the numbers
All right,
are
so maybe we could have like, maybe between the ones who come, we could say like, two of you are gonna get 10 minutes or something like that, and then the others are like,
Well,
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, well, they know.
Maybe they just do the
Well,
open.
it's on these ceilings that you can have.
Because I don't think they have enough.
Right.
So usually if there's a tag on the animal,
Okay,
it will be.
But I know that they like to do it.
okay, so maybe we pick a night,
And that means that it's.
they're, you know,
That means it's.
there might be a regular teacher, but they're
advertised
advertised as gonna be here, and these guys are great, they're young and new, and all like that. Okay, so
Well,
then
that, but they end up.
we'll pick a date, since we don't have to worry about a feature block, we can pick any.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to talk to them tomorrow.
Okay, and tell them we're friendly, we don't fight.
Yeah.
In the food.
So this is word language, that, you know,
Oh, yeah.
hard to have heard.
No.
So that's just
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
the things we work
Yeah, well, I heard
on.
worse.
Sometimes they can,
Okay, well then.
you know,
We're
it
good.
helps to know,
Well, thank
like, if
Okay,
you
no, I
see,
I tried to get Youth Speaks to come here
say if
sometime,
you
it's
see
like,
a orange footy day,
I mean, your
And
sister,
you need to
I think
know that.
that's just a little
You
bit
said that,
I'm not officially hired trained, but I'm still the communication medium.
Yeah.
I just work more than that.
Like they're all like the boys today, it's nice to see
This
you.
doesn't have to be all done.
Thanks for reading my
You know, a
book.
couple of months later. You're used to like make this a crossroads kind of thing. Yeah, okay. And thank you.
No, yeah, I'll come in tomorrow.
All right, great.
And it gives you the number.
Bring your cluster? Huh?
Stop
You bring your
fussing
cluster?
about
The little ones.
It's just
Yeah, and you think that we can.
Things are long to sign.
Oh, I'm somewhere in there somewhere.
Okay, I got you.
No, I'm in before the.
No, because you
I
said.
signed myself in.
You've got one comment.
I'm already on there, I signed myself in.
Oh, you
They
did?
say
Yeah.
that the time is so short.
Somewhere in there.
Oh, you are,
Just not
really?
talk
Okay,
about Sam
I didn't know you did that.
This isn't too bad.
Yeah, I'm usually not here early enough.
I
I don't mean to be a backseat driver.
that's good.
But you know, there's always, it's like being in a bus with people. Too hot. There's no super, there's, you know.
No, on the
So
trunk.
the, what's the best is when the driver says, set the thermostat, and that's the way it's gonna be.
You know what I said? Oh, did you?
Yeah, you're highly organized.
Well, not so highly organized.
You're a lot of files.
See, like, these are not the
You
ones
know what
that
you're saying, it's just that it makes me
I can't remember, but it wasn't these. Yeah, that's just all.
I'm gonna go look at, are you looking about that? Yeah.
We're starting at like.
On
That was part of it.
I thought I had left it, it's like,
I'm looking at these.
as the trunk.
So I'm glad that they.
As organized as you are.
What's happening, I think, with the movement, is they're getting so familiar, and, oh,
Yeah.
they're beginning to go, I was too,
I thought I brought it,
that was,
I'll go check that.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was.
And then I have that.
What did I do? Oh, I gotta get that. These are on the page. I mean, okay.
My phone, maybe it's for the air, things, not sure.
Yeah.
But, you know,
But you know, I listen to your program and I like feel like you're so hot. And then when it's over, it's like, crash. Yeah.
Well, it's very, very.
And at our school, parents can still.
I wanted to come last night, I had a horrible conflict. It's one of those things where there's two urgent things
Right,
at the
right.
same time, and you just, yeah. But keep me posted about your other reading.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you could kindly take your seats, I will direct your attention to the ceiling. Direct your attention to the ceiling, please. Direct your attention to the floor. Point at me and wave at the door. That's a strategy. Class, you're supposed to have the kids do that. They do that thing like, what the heck is he talking about? It just makes a way of me knowing who's doing what. The door prizes for this evening are a year to remember, 2014-2015. It's a handy dandy pocket calendar. Starts with the month of September or August. Some Mackin. We have A Tale from Ovid, retold by S.T. Mackin. The famous 20 Years, 20 Poems. And my favorite of this group, The Cave of the First Men.
Also, November 2010 by Steve.
Oh, yeah.
Also November 2010 by Steve. If you love the Darwin Awards, here's a whole bookload of them, and some of them are amazing. Like the Russian man who had moved to a seaside resort or lakeside resort, and he knew that electricity would kill fish. So what he decided to do was run a very long extension cord from his house all the way to the lakefront, separating the two wires, of course, because he was smarter than that, throwing one in one way, one in the other way, and of course, then switched on the electricity, and the fish died. And there were all this fish just waiting to be picked up. So he just went in and got them. He, of course, forgot to switch off the electricity, and so he passed away. There was a story about the three Russians who had a drunken contest to see who could detonate the anti-tank mine, which was supposed to be a dud. It wasn't. And it took them a while to set it off. They had gone through about a quart and a half of some powerful alcohol. As you know, take a shot, hit the mine, take a shot, hit the mine, take a shot, boom! The people in the bar left a long time before that one. Two National Geographics, Bahamas Blue Holes, and King Tut. King Tut. And of course, this is another copy of Over the Transom. Some good prose, good poems in here. I love it. It's a great thing. You will enjoy these things. Patricia, that is you, yes? Priscilla, sorry. It's a long day. Priscilla Wathington is our feature. She's going to give the Queen's Wave, or however she wants. Thank you so much. I will say a little more later on. I'm going through the patter before we start this whole thing.
So those are the prizes this evening. Door prizes, which are taken care of
Later. And who can tell me my favorite political joke?
George W. Bush.
Thank you. And let's see, is there anything else? Is there anything else? I can't think. Oh, yes, there is one more thing. If you have a cell phone, like I know I have, now is the perfect time to go like this. Hey, I have one new voicemail. Let me check. No, I won't do that. 3 missed calls. Oh my God. I have it on vibrate, but I don't always, that doesn't always ring a bell. Pardon me.
Oh.
Okay, is there anybody that wants to sign in that hasn't signed in? Because we have a bunch of very nice, I put you, no I didn't. You got to put you in. Thank you, it's okay. I think I probably moved it, or it is one of these two things and I forgot that. Okay. All right.
So, we're about to get started. It'll be a good and wonderful evening. We have a good feature, powerful reader, very, very, very intuitional and bright in her presentation. So, who is first? We'll start with Sally Love Saunders, and then I'll read the next set of poets so we know who's following whom. Thank you so much. Warm up the mic. Here we go.
You were such a wonderful audience when I was up here. It seems like yesterday, doing my thing. I want to thank you again.
It wasn't yesterday?
The day before yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, okay. Here we go, guys. Okay.
You always rock. It's not hard to.
I have a group of poets called the Live Poet Society, and we got our name from Robin Williams' Dead Poet Society. And Herb Caen wrote about us.
Yay.
Yeah, so I want to read you what he wrote. Robin Williams' Dead Poet Society is a hit, and so is our very own Live Poet Society, which meets each Thursday night from 6:30 to 8 in the State Building on McAllister, with poet Sally Love Saunders in charge. State Senator Milton Marks, who epitomizes poetry, or at least arranged for the group to use the fine space. So I wanted to share that with you.
Nice.
Can I give you that?
Give me.
That's a treasure of mine. Yeah. I think of all his films, The Dead Poet Society was my favorite.
I like Good Morning Vietnam.
The Marijuana
Yeah.
It really showcased his talent, I thought.
Carlo's tears have turned into driplets off his beard, falling down. His ex-sweetheart's spirit goes with him in a close shadow. Carlos, injured butterfly, beautiful wings quivering. I hold you in the palm of my soul, providing comfort and shade. baked poems to bring you out of the oven of my soul. Like a plant I grow green, with Dan's miracle grow, and sun from your warm hearts. So I come to you badly parched and needing water and miracle grow. Old Red. I remember Red, the old farm horse, and his irritations in summer, when those big black horse flies would fly to him, and his whole skin shriveling up tight as his sharp tail angrily would swat at him hard. The flies would try again, only again to cause his skin to reject. And so with you, when I express my feelings, I can feel your body cringing up and feeling most uncomfortable, like Old Red with the flies in the heat of the summer. Eight years ago, I saw dark eyes on the subway in Queens. The eyes belonged to a middle-aged kid, say around 8. Those eyes would be on the subway, those eyes would be on a 16-year-old now. I look for them, but eyes are listening to iPods and conversations on cell phones. I miss the eyes of the 8-year-old years ago. This morning I received an email from a friend who said she has stress in her life. Stress, the current fashion. I'm thinking of women who wore corsets and bows in their bras. That was the fashion. I remember having to sleep face down on pillow because of metal hair rollers in my hair, because curly hair was the fashion. So today, stressed and uncertain, the fashion. Buford, writing of 19 years, with a lost love. Wish those years could be resold at a rummage sale. This year for a resale at $5. That year worth more. I'd dig hard to buy and resell those years. On goes the lipstick and earlier powder and rouge to spark up my poetry, like flowers at a banquet. Pulling puppies, yapping, wanting to come to you, your ears to lick and be held and taken home. Pulling puppies, yapping, wanting to come to you, to your ears. I have a friend who had a suitcase that would hold everything. And we went on long trips. He could become a gallant herdsman or swim in a tiny suit. He had books and toiletries I didn't understand. I, on the other hand, had not one but 2 big suitcases. We hitchhiked in Ireland and people always stopped, and somehow my big bags would fit into their tiny cars, and off we'd go. Try as I do, impossible for me to travel light. I planned, practiced, and promised myself. Now I have 1 suitcase, but I have to pay $25 to check it, and while there, miss the clothes left behind. I want to be sure you all know about Greg's Pond's wonderful, and I mean wonderful, poetry half hour. It's part of a program called Senior Center Without Words, or Senior Center Without Walls. And you call, if you look it up or Google it or call them, they'll give you the number to call, and there's a passcode, 44, and then you get Greg live in person for half an hour reading poetry. And I couldn't recommend it more on Wednesdays, but now that we're on vacation until the 23rd of September.
24th.
So that gives you all time to get the number down that you dial, but the passcode's easy to remember, it's 44. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sally. Okay, it's just a couple things that I forgot. Leave it to me. First off, that Mr. Natural, the original and real honest to God Mr. Natural, always sets up a webcam here, and so that whatever happens here is available online later. That is supposed to be the link you should go to But I have had problems with that, so I don't know if that's really true. But if you go to the Facebook site, I usually post what happens tonight, a link to it. Eventually that link is, the film is moved to YouTube and you have to search for it. But, you know, if you ever have trouble with that, you can just contact me, I'll get you done. Next thing, we took to do the cell phone, but we forgot to recognize our hosts, Fiona and Teddy. We always give them a round of applause. You would have to put up with me. So, in the next 5 readers, we have Karen Huff, Owen Dunkel, Ann Leonard, Lewis, Stephanie, and then Harold. After that, Cesar. And this looks like Palmer, and then Greg, and myself, and then our feature. So I'll just let you know that's the order of presentations coming up. And this was to give Karen a little time to get ready because I forgot to tell her what I was going to do with it. So Karen Huff.
Thanks, I've been gone for a while. I was down south chasing 6 sea lions around trying to bring them in so we could treat them.
Well done.
Petrus. It is a perfect skipping stone. Flat, ovoid, the color of a barnacle I once saw just behind a humpback whale's head, where its neck would be, if whales had necks. I could make it dance across the waves, but it feels so good in my palm. Cool, worn to a perfect form that delights my senses by time's hand. No rough edges, mellowed in ways that I envy. But no, I will never achieve chasing the albatross. Still, the entire teachings of Lao Tzu are written on this rock. I place it gently on a shelf. Try hard to listen. I've almost decided that if I put together a book this year, it will be Poems for Imaginary Lovers. So here's Poems for Imaginary Lovers 2. Even in REM sleep, I am conscious of my arm tossed casually across you, the light tickle of fur on your chest against my cheek, the primal rhythm of your pulse in my ear matching my own. My eyes open slowly. I try to guess the time, gauging the intensity of light, filtered through blinds and curtains. Curious, hugging a pillow, why you are not there. But it is difficult to miss you when I cannot picture the color of your eyes, or remember the strength of your fingertips, since we have met only in dreams, where you are sometimes confused with a poem I am writing, or an insolent owl. Retrieval. She was beautiful, silken silver spotted coat, moonstone water droplets beaded in her fur, huge eyes the color of molten chocolate. She could steal your heart, if not for foaming blood drizzling from her nose and mouth that said, "Yes, this is the fresh crocus we've been asked to retrieve, to gather information that might help decide what's happening with the harbor seals." We haul the corpse across the sand away from children, draw blood from her heart, are unable to draw urine, make a small incision to measure blubber depth, measure length, girth, flippers. Emily plays with the long nails, trying them against her own, while Josh, with melancholy eyes that look strangely like the seals, places a single shell reverently on her forehead.
Karen Huff, ladies and gentlemen. We have Owen coming up now, then Ann, Lewis, Stephanie, Harold. So give Owen a nice round as he comes up. And to answer someone's questions, no, you may not stomp your feet. That's for the first timers. Things pounding on the table, making weird noises, animal sounds, and stomping your feet. That's for the new people when they first come here and show up.
You're trying to scare them away.
Well, no, but they have to know that, you know, the unexpected is expected.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Sleep. Ah, Morpheus. The winding dusk has entered its stay upon my eyelids. Sleep, I sought you in vain. Would make an insomniac's prayer upon you. You are like the March wind. You come and you go. I have sought you in vain. I toss and turn in bed. You are the god Morpheus, lost somewhere in antiquity. Outside my window I can count the stars, almost like counting sheep. I lie awake and seek you in vain. You come when you want. My eyes are open, rarely closed to dream a bit. I to sleep, perchance to dream. Sun at Starbucks. Ballroom, lust, rust, love, laugh, orisons, kooky, lend me your comb. Val, hornets, Berkshire's, jodhpurs, the sturdy calliope. The herd becomes a stallion, King Farouk, hookah, joy descending. It all happens here. Lines matriculate on the sky. Rockin' Roberts, papers away. God in heaven, rejoice, hallelujah. 20 years after the hallelujah chorus. Another sleepy hollow day. Buses rumble to the sound of nothing. China Basin going somewhere. The flute becomes a mystic. Al Jarvis, the make-believe hall of mirrors, managed champion of the imagination. The fog is like misty cement. It cowers near the ocean, as inevitably it will blow away. Couplet for a cathedral. Sad buttresses fly across the air. It careens erratically upward to reach for a god of sky. Couplet at Starbucks. The day plods by like a farmer. The sun sits on a metamorphosis of folly. At the beach. The brown and white speckled seagulls, the old man listening to his radio on the torn white couch. 2, pizza. 1, crust. 2, onions. 3, pepperoni. 4, sausage. 5, cheese. It took me a while to actually know and love pizza, as all Italian food seems malleable and finite. Pizza wobbling on my hand seems finite. At the beach. The warm white waves do a peaceful rococo dance on top of the green ocean seawater. And the Trieste. Never above it all, I do a lonely dance, searching to make romance. The cup, the fallen cup empty now, empty as the quiet sky, like a small boat, the empty bow. Strike. A bowling ball makes noise like thunder as it rolls down the lane to decide each frame. Spare. I saw a bowling ball as it did its thing and made strikes, and I heard the boom, the resounding of spares. At Starbucks, there is but one green leaf on which to write poems like I wrote the week before, as each flight of fancy before Shelley. After money, there is but one. After Wallace Stevens, imagine the fact that much of reality is silent as the god of money. mystic air. There is only air, the only thing that is there. Metaphors vanish in the cold air. About such things I do care for the wind and wish it would vanish. Patience. I have patience with the stillness. No young queen comes to show me the green, to sleep with, to show me the green, to sleep with a queen. A poem of daily longing. A cloak of clouds salutes the day's upbringing. Now I know why haiku were invented to overcome the day's shortcomings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Duff. All right, we have Ann Leonard, then Louis, then Stephanie, then Harold, then Cesar, Palmer, and then Greg, myself, and Priscilla, our teacher of music. Give her a nice round of applause.
The last time I was reading from this chapter about the first wave punk bands in San Francisco, there were 2 children present, so I couldn't read at least one of the paragraphs. I really thought about, altering the word, to something else, and I went, no, I can't even do that, because that would be...
But you're going to give it to us straight this night.
Yeah, just out of context. I'm at the Mabuhay, and I'm talking about the scene around the Mabuhay Gardens. This is like 1978 or 9. And in the bathroom, and let's see, okay, and then on stage, Dirk Dirksen, the master of ceremonies, came on stage wearing a plastic penis where his nose should have been, tossing his usual insults at the opening band. So anyhow, so I didn't read that, but I wanted you to know he did that every week. He was in the cabaret. So let's see. So anyhow, let's see. Okay, so then I met a friend of mine who'd come back from New York who was in a band, and we wound up somehow upstairs above the stage. So let's see. Look down there, he said. That's kind of cool. I put my head near his and peered below. And it was like looking through a trap door where a ladder went down. We were lying right above the stage with a view of the band and the audience churning around. The guitarist and the singer were up at the front of the stage working the crowd into a lather. Smoke, raw energy, and music filtered up towards us. I couldn't believe what was happening. I'd had a thing for him for months. Maybe the sexiness in the situation was a little too much for me, but I felt transported. It was like being in another world. The stage started pulsing with a brighter and brighter light, and there was an undercurrent to the music, a deep rumbling vibration. I rubbed my eyes. Suddenly, the small performance area with its one band started to expand, getting bigger and bigger, devouring the city's punk performers, clubs, and bands. It had become the mother of all stages, spewing out one incredible band after another. And we were all part of it, caught up in the regeneration of a massive heaving ball of energy. Then, as suddenly as the paroxysm began, it was over. I shook my head. Wow, John, did you see that? Yeah. Do you think there's something about the room that's causing it? I mean, maybe we're in a trans-dimensional portal or something. I don't know, but I'm going to take a piss. He said, moving toward the open window. What? Onto Broadway? No, over by the alley. Oh, good. Yep, the beer sure goes right through me. What a night, I thought. What a fantastic night. I leaned back over the hole in the floor thinking about it. Amazing. San Francisco's spawn of fantastically cool bands. Our bands, the Nuns, Crime, Dills, the Avengers, the Zeros, and the list goes on and on. That's the intro to my bands chapter. And then I've got, some on each band. And so I'm going to read about the Avengers, who were one of the first, after Crime and the Nuns, but alphabetically, the Avengers come first. So They were anyhow, the Avengers lived with the Kinlan brothers, a few blocks up Columbus from us at Powell and Union, and this is like 77 or so. And we'd occasionally catch some of them on the street, hauling their guitars through North Beach, or else we'd run into them on the 30 Stockton, where you could count on Penelope's platinum crew cut snapping some passenger's neck out of joint. They were young and fresh-faced, looking like they'd stepped right out of a Nebraska cornfield. I was reminded of the naive optimist in the old Mickey Rooney movie, Swing Time, who had just heard a great new tune on the radio and shouted out all at once, "Hey kids, let's start a band!" Except what they'd just heard, Anarchy in the UK, had inspired the Avengers' own anthems of assertion, which would soon be rallying cries for U.S. punks up and down the West Coast, with lines like, "Ask not what you can do for your country, what's your country been doing to you? And we are not capitalist industrialists, we are not communists, we are the one." They encapsulated the punk attitude, dream, and social critique. The sense of the band making a call to action at their shows was no accident. They wanted you to shake it all loose. On stage, Greg Ingram's melodic guitar rang out, his sped-up rockabilly flourishes underscoring the heart of each song. Behind him, Jimmy Wilsey rocked his low-slung bass to a swinging rhythm he and drummer Danny O'Brien laid down. The Avengers interacted with their audience more than most bands, and when the music's momentum built, Jimmy and Greg would leap up and down, punctuating the crowd's excitement as they played. Band had a punch that made it impossible not to dance, and fans were pulled into their music, churning in front of the stage like wet, heavy laundry in a big top loader. With Penelope, a heretic's Joan of Arc at the battlefront, the band concocted a fusion of electric church and political rally. Something seemed to have risen from the ashes of the 60s, and I can't remember ever having left an Avengers show without feeling revved up and ready to take on whatever the corporate barons and their political henchmen could toss our way. After making their debut at a party at Danny's Warehouse in June of '77, the Avengers' second performance was an after-party for Brian Ferry at the Mabuhay. Their songs had been written the week before the show, and once on stage, Greg forgot them all, filling in with simple chords to get by. They were so out of sync, Penelope was convinced she and the band were performing two different songs, but she valiantly sang her way through to the end of the set. And Penelope works at the library downtown.
Every time you're selling, just go to the end of the sentence or the little
Oh,
paragraph.
okay.
Just,
Oh, okay.
Be smooth, that's all.
Oh, okay, sorry. She works at the downtown library. She's worked there since probably the late 80s.
Wow.
But she works up in the history. Yeah, she's a librarian there.
Cool. First wave, thank you so much. So Lewis, then Stephanie, then Harold, then Cesar, then Palmer, then Greg, then myself, then Bebop or Rebop. That guy had always says he's going to show up, but you know, he never did.
Can you all hear me? Anybody not hear me? Okay. I'm having it's still continuing my Shakespeare in the park in the summer here, so that will end shortly. But this is from Romeo and Juliet, Act 2, Scene 3. Yes, the rappers and the hip hoppers hate this motherfucker, but consider him an old dead punk. But I kind of like him still. We're talking about Shakespeare. Yep, he sticks around. Friar Lawrence's Sill. The gray-eyed morn smiles on the frowning night, checkering the eastern clouds with streaks of light. And like a darkness, like a drunker reels from forth days past Titan's fiery wheels. Now ere the sun advances, burning nigh the day to cheer the night's dank doom to fly, I must upfill this saucy cage of ours with baleful weeds and precious juice of flowers. The earth, that's nature's mother, is her tomb. What is her burying ground? That is her womb. From her womb, children of diverse kind, we suckling on her natural bosom find. Many for many virtues excellent, none but for some, and yet all different. Oh, mickle is the powerful grace that rise in plants, herbs, stones, and their true qualities. For not so vile that on the earth doth live, but to the earth some special good doth give. Nor aught so good but stink
stranded from fair use, revolts from true birth, stumbling on abuse. Virtue itself turns vice, being misapplied, and vice sometimes by action dignified. Within the infant rind of this small flower, poison hath residence and medicine power. For this being smelt and that part cheers each part. Being tasted slays all senses with the heart. To such opposed kings encamp them still in man as well as herbs, grace and true will. Where the worser is predominant, full soon the canker eats up that plant into Romeo. Good morning, Father. Men of the city, what early tongue so sweet saluteth me? Young son, it argues a distempered head, so soon to bid good morrow to thy bed. Care keeps his watch in every old man's eye, and where care lodges, sleep will never lie. But where unbruised youth and unstopped brain doth couch his limbs, there golden sleep doth reign. Therefore thy earliness doth me assure thou art uproused with some distemperature. Or if not so, then here I hit it right. Our Romeo hath not been to bed tonight. But last is true, the sweeter rest was mine. God pardon sin, wast thou with Rosaline? With Rosaline, my ghostly father? No, I have forgot that name, and that name's woe. That's my good son, but where hast thou been then? Tell thee, ere thou askest me again, I have been feasting with mine enemy, where on a sudden one hath wounded me, that's by me wounded. Both are remedies within thy help, and holy physic lies. I bear no hatred, blessed man, for lo, my intercession likewise speeds my foe. Be plain, good son, and holy in thy drift, riddling confession finds but riddling shrift. Then plainly know my heart's dear love is set on the fair daughter of rich Capulet. Is mine on hers, so hers is set on mine, and all combined, and save what thou must combine by holy marriage. When and where and how we met, we wooed and made exchange of vow. Exchange of vow, exchange of vow, exchange of vow. I'll tell thee as we pass, but this I pray that thou consent to marry us today. Holy St. Francis, what a change is here! Is Rosaline that thou didst love so dear, so soon forsaken? Young men's love then lies not truly in their hearts, but in their eyes. Merci.
Good. Thank you very much. And now we have Stephanie, then Harold, and Cesar, and 1,752,000 trombones later, we will talk about the more serious things than that. Give her a nice round as she comes up. I always thank her and Ray for the kind of philosophy and this place to keep it going. So
Thanks for coming back, Dan.
Thank you.
So I'm going to read 2 poems by Ted Hughes, who was the husband of Sylvia Plath, and his birthday is next week. I hadn't read any of Ted Hughes' work, and he was very good. He was the poet laureate of Great Britain, and when Sylvia Plath committed suicide at age 36, the feminists at the time rose up in arms and accused Ted Hughes of driving her to commit suicide or even murdering her. She died by having her head in the oven, asphyxiation. Anyway, I could go on about that. But anyway, so here's a poem called The Woman Unconscious by Ted Hughes. Russia and America circle each other. Threats nudge an act that were without doubt a melting of the mold in the mother. Stones melting about the root. The quick of the earth burned out. The toil of all our ages a loss with leaf and insect. Yet flitting thought, not to be thought ridiculous, shies from the world-canceling black of its playing shadow.
It has learned that there's no trusting to luck, dates when the world's due to be burned, that the future's no calamitous change, but a malingering of now, histories, towns, faces that no malice or accident much derange. And though bomb be matched against bomb, though all mankind wince out, nothing endure, earth gone in an instant flare, did a lesser death come onto the white hospital bed, where one, numb beyond her last of sense, closed her eyes on the world's evidence, and into pillows sunk her head. Beautiful work. And here's one more called Wind. This house has been far out at sea all night, the woods crashing through darkness, the booming hills, wind stampeding the fields under the window, floundering black astride and blinding wet till day arose. Then under an orange sky, the hills had new places, and wind wielded blade bright, luminous black and emerald, flexing like lens of mad eye. At noon I scaled along the house side as far as the coal house door. Once I looked up through the brunt wind that dented the balls of my eyes. The tent of the hills drummed and strained its gyro, the fields quivering, the skyline a grimace, at any second to bang and vanish with a flap. The wind flung a magpie away, and a black-backed gull bent like an iron bar slowly. The house rang like some fine green goblet in the note that any second would shatter it. Now deep in chairs in front of the great fire we grip our hearts and cannot entertain book, thought, or each other. We watch the fire blazing and feel the roots of the house move, but sit on, seeing the window tremble to come in, hearing the stones cry out under the horizon.
Thank you for that.
We don't get people reading other people a lot, but it's when you do, it's really special, and I appreciate that.
Harold and Cesar, give Harold a nice round, please. Comes out here once again, pleasing us all. Mightily.
Thank you. So I have the luxury of working with middle schoolers. And tomorrow I've been actually trying to, they're going to be on the radio tomorrow, and so I've been kind of working, trying to coordinate that. And coordinating with middle schoolers is like the hardest thing, because apparently they have lives. And so,
You don't say.
Yeah. So,
What time and what day?
KPFA in Berkeley.
Yeah.
It's going to be recorded. I'm not sure when it's going to be aired, though. So
Well, let us
I'll
know,
let you know.
I'll try to post it on the web, on
Yeah.
the Facebook page for people to know, and I'll make sure I try to send it.
So I'm trying to convince one of the students to read this piece, but she's a little embarrassed. The prompt on this piece was, there's a visual artist called Bowie, and he wrote a book called When I Was a Kid. And it's an illustrated kind of narrative of all these stories when he was a kid. And so she ended up illustrating it, but I think she wrote it so well that even without the illustrations, it actually works. So this is what she wrote. When I was a kid, in kindergarten, I always tried really hard to impress my teacher. I wouldn't misbehave, and she has a picture of an angel. And I always tried to finish my work the fastest. Done. One day, we were turning in handwriting work. There was a shy, quiet girl in line ahead of me. Her name was Tiffany. And then she writes, this girl. When she turned her work in, our teacher exclaimed, "Oh, how neat. Good job." But when I turned in my work, our teacher didn't say anything to me. Silence. And all I can think was, God, I hate her. So I've been on a superhero kind of writing thing going on. So the first one is on Fernando Valenzuela, I don't know if you guys remember him, Fernando Mania back in the 80s.
Yeah, we're Giants fans.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, I forget what city I'm in. Yeah.
We got your baseball players here.
Yeah. So the first is a triptych, three-part. 1, there's no doubt for even strangers and those who couldn't tell you if a baseball is round or square, we all know when El Toro takes the mound. He breaks the mold of what a Dodger should be, the Drysdale and the Koufax. He is brown like us, Indio like us, with a panza like us, and hailing from towns and deserts the rest of the nation cannot pronounce. 2, we don the snapback caps, the white baseball tees with the long blue sleeves, and the number 34 in blue iron pressed on our backs. We stand invincible in center of streets, facing manholes we call home. Tennis balls grip tightly like dreams between our fingers. We wind up looking to the sky, watching out for hovering helicopters. 3, in barrios all over the city, our radios are set to Jaime Jarrin calling the play-by-play every time Valenzuela enters the stadium, buzzing with oversized sombreros. We cheer with pride in 1,000 tongues inside cars on our way home from work or sitting with clenching fists on the living room sofa, as if with each step he took to the mound, we are one step closer to reclaiming Chavez Ravine. And so I had to go and write one about Michael Jackson, so. And it's called Wanna Be Starting Something, and I don't know how to sing, so I won't sing. Do think twice. Mommy always told me be careful what you wear, but I always wished a jacket like that. Do think twice. A candy apple red leather jacket, I just wanted to be bad, so bad. Zippers be decked, black stripes, I wanted to step like him. Didn't matter that teacher's band breaking beats, locking dreams, dancing on the floor and around at the playground. Do think twice. Mommy said to purchase back to school clothes, the same residual 70s crimson corduroy bell bottoms and blue plaid shirts. 4th grade and I was stuck in the middle of unknown. Do think twice. I wanted to be like, wanted to feel like, I do what I want, step like I want, smooth like a criminal in a movie scene with no beats and no rhymes, no rhythm on my arms or feet. The jacket would be all I had. Do think twice. The power to turn myself from 3rd grade geek into superfly, sugarfly, 4th grade myth. Lonely days are gone. Bad boy, yet still brave enough to stand up to set things right. With asymptotic leans, them always wanting to be starting something, so no more kicking, no more beating us, telling us it's fair. Do think twice. Still sinister enough to catch glimpses from Tanya C. 2 tables down to the left of me, with eyes like me. Come on, girl. Do think twice, but all they got on the rack was silver leather jackets with way too many zippers, no black stripes, and school starts Monday. Just remember, do think twice. Thank you.
Thank you, Harold. It was really great. I like that. I like all that. That's good. We're happy. Cesar, then Palmer, then Craig. And Cesar, a wonderful poet. So bring him up and so forth.
Good evening, Sacred Grounds.
Good evening.
Yeah, I just got back from Mexico, to Merida, where we've got a sister open mic, and I collect poems, so I got some poems that I brought back to read. And these are in English, they actually been translated. It's by Fer de la Cruz, who's someone to know. His poem's called Heavenly Epic of Cats and Dogs. It's raining cats and dogs. The barking falls as thunder. The cat's eyes resemble lightning. And the fights, the cats flashing their paws as they keep balance midair. The dogs displaying their teeth while spinning in the sky. Chihuahuas and Great Danes equally terrified. Each battle is won by cats. Aerodynamic instinct makes them experts on hitting solid ground. But those poor dogs, oh dear, I hope there really is a heaven for them all. And this one's also by Fer de la Cruz. It's called They Might Think That I Am an Angel. God gave me an editing job. Between dreams, I would mark the errors all the way from a primordial alpha to an impending omega still under construction. I saw the universe in rough draft. There was very little love in long paragraphs of human history. The most serious errors were ones of conscience, but those were left uncorrected. Well, it was not my job. Human acts, like it or not, are indelible. Today, an angel revealed to me that my check was not yet ready. It had to be approved by St. Peter, who willed to Judas the accounts of heaven. And on the other hand, the pay would be eternal when creation is finally finished. And in the meantime, how do I live? How do I eat? With what do I pay rent or transportation? Who will save me later from the purgatory of the credit bureau? Now I understand why they say we are made in the image of God. On earth, everything is the same, but I'm not lifting my red pen. I throw into the fire all my corrections. Let them solve their own problems. I hope humanity will correct itself if it believes in a destiny poorly written in some dead language, with that beginning and end imposed from above in the endless spiral of time, where no one is in the least interested if I am paid or not. Yeah, so this is a poem I'm still working on. I have pieces here. So, see how it goes. Arms of the Bus Driver. I am on my way to the pyramids on a bus from Hermosillo that goes to Campeche. It picks me up in Merida and will leave me at Uxmal. On this bus, there are women, men, and children who are coming and going inside their regular lives. On their bus, there are 3 tourists. I hear them speak French. On the bus, there is myself, who I consider not a tourist, but a pilgrim. The bus is long and wide and fast. I sit in the front row to watch the highway as we snake along the hills and curves. I sit in the front row to watch the driver, his hands on the steering wheel. The steering wheel is huge and round. In another reality, it could be a space station. The driver's arms are impressive. One wrist has a shiny watch, the other a silver chain. His arms are not large, but they get the riders to their comings and goings. His arms keep the bus on the road. His arms keep us on our ways.
Thank you so much. And that a Palmer? Looks like the word Palmer. P-A-L-M-E-R. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Good to see you coming out a little bit today. This is not your first time, is it?
It's the first time in 30 months.
Okay. Okay, so it's not your first time here.
So it's good to be back.
Oh, good.
Hello, everybody.
Give him another round. Take him back one more time.
I know it's been a long while because I've been chasing dragons. And I thought we're still in the year of the dragon. So it dawned on me that we're not in the year of dragon anymore, so I came back. So I'd like to share something personal with everybody here. I know we're a tight-knit group here. Years ago, about 15 years ago this fall, I attended a conference here at USF. And in my futile effort to make friends, I tried to start a conversation with somebody. And he said that he's from Hawaii. And he told me his last name is
peregrino. So right away I knew it's Spanish, but I tried to play dumb by asking him if it's a Spanish peregrino or Italian peregrino. Of course, in Italian it's pellegrino. So instead of giving me an answer saying it's Spanish or Italian or even half, he went on and say, I'm part Scottish, part Welsh, part native, part Puerto Rican, part Jamaican, part Ghanaian, part Senegalese. Went on, part Korean, part Chinese, part this and that. So it got me wondering, in the back of my mind, actually I wanted to open my mouth, but I fear getting punched in the face, because in the back of my mind, I wanted to ask him, please tell me exactly how many people that night went to bed just to make one person like you. And I knew if I opened my big mouth after me. Yeah, that was true. And then, as I was chugging along the road of life, I met this redhead, and she just arrived from the Big Apple, and her hair is as red as a red apple, and I did not know how lucky I was. I went out with her. Then, on the third day, she was puzzled, and she asked me, you know, I find you very funny, but there's something troublesome about you. And I thought, did I say something wrong? Did I cuss? And then she said, I find you very asexual. Uh-oh. So I stood up and said, do I need to wear really shorts where my butt cheeks are sticking out like this? Or tight shirts where you can see my nipples pressed against the fabric? Like, am I not He-Man enough with this hair? So that's another life lesson learned. I told myself, oh wow, Palmer, you're the words there. It's the making of a perfect AI. Tell me, everybody, what is an AI?
Artificial intelligence?
Close. Give me another shot. Please. It's very therapeutic. It helps me get over it. Okay, shall I go ahead and say it?
Yeah.
Asexual idiot. Mm-hmm. So I was so shell-shocked by that experience, and I became a recluse. And I just hid in my flat on the 3rd floor somewhere in Potrero Hill. And then every now and then this particular friend would visit me. And little did I know that his presence was reinforcing that AI-ism. And because every time I tried to say something, and he would get really mad, and he said that if I think about something or even say something without even doing it, I'm guilty of committing a sin. And he's so holy that he almost glows in the dark. And he describes himself as being straight-laced. So once again, it got me wondering, until finally I got the courage to ask him, come in here. No, you don't need to take off your shoes or your clothes. I don't want that, too much of that going on already. Ask him to pull up the legs of his pants to see if he's wearing any laces underneath. You know, the thing with him is that it wasn't until years later when he came back from the seminary that he realized that he's been taking too much sexual suppressant, and now with my prescription, I've since increased the dosage that he's now taking moral relaxant. There we go. Amen. Welcome back to the city. Sometimes I wish that I could wrap it up in the color of rainbow and see how beautiful the variety of life here, and it's so infinite. And yeah, I'm glad I finally got through the dogmatic static and reached out to him. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job. All right. And that brings us to Greg, then myself, then Priscilla, our feature. So I'm just letting people know to get yourselves comfortable. Relax. easy, of mind, spirit, body, health, and soul.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Good.
Mr. Paul.
Night orphans. I see them come, the orphans of night, searching for a home they may never know, traveling far in hopes to find their way along on lonely nights where orphans roam in black and white. I see them run, the orphans on high, searching heaven's zone for wings they'll never own, ready to take flight most of the time. They wander off in search of light, where orphans roam in black and white. I hear them hum, the orphans of slight. They search the unknown among the lost and alone. These orphans moan in 3/4 time. They wander gray on lonely nights, where orphans roam in black and white. This poem I'd like to dedicate to the memory of Michael Brown, who was killed by the police in Missouri. And this is entitled, His Name Was Trayvon Martin. His name was Trayvon Martin, but it could have been Emmett Till, another young son whose claim to fame was just for getting killed. An ill-fated whistle, iced tea, and a bag of Skittles. What were the crimes that ended their lives so young and for so little? Prejudice and bigotry live in infamy. Colorblind eyes see only black and white. Who plays the victim? Who pulls the trigger? Who gets to claim civil rights? Security man, stand your ground. Black hood must be up to no good. And whether it's the other way around, nothing was handled the way it should. Obama said if he had a son, he'd look just like Trayvon. Well, I already have a son who looks like him dead on. Could even the president protect my boy if he's targeted, profiled, or killed? Or will his be the next name we are fated to remember? Half a century later, will young black men's death still be run-of-the-mill? His name was Trayvon Martin, Amadou Diallo, or Oscar Grant, but it used to be Emmett Till. And I would like to dedicate this last poem to the memory of one of our poets, J.E. Freeman, who passed away. Oh my gosh. Justice said she saw a tweet from a Facebook posting from Matthew. Said he had passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
So I'd like to read this and dedicate this to the memory of J.E. Freeman and to his dear friend Matthew Rogers. And this is entitled, It Is Golden. It is golden, the afternoon of this day, spent listening to music and eating pizza in the park by the church in North Beach with my friend Matthew. He is young, I'm old and crackled. We cackle well together, my gravel voice counterpart to his la la la. There are green breezes and yellow dogs, balls bouncing by bare-kneed children, a bit of a mandolin singing, and kites in flight above us. Happiness is simple, like silence, like breathing together. He reads me a poem he's just written to Venus. I listen as to a stream of love from a mountain falling. The sylvan silver city dances on the periphery of as far away as another world. Is this what a butterfly feels in its cocoon? I wonder. The world is wondrous. One thing here in the park, something entirely other a block away. A mile down the street past the traffic lights and to the right, to the west toward the bridge and the boats in the bay and the Marin headlands in the distance. It is different. There the breezes are more than a breeze, but less than a wind. and you can hear a halyard clang against a mast or two. Several halyards like wind chimes, like the bells of time singing to the sea. I can sail there without leaving this bench, and the sweet cheese cannoli in my mouth, a sip of soda, and the park tree shadows on the ground. Across the bay it is hazy, where the shoreline rises to the hills. I cannot tell if it is a mist is rising or the cataract growing in my eye. I imagine not seeing, not being able to read. I'm grateful to be a modern man who can have my sight restored. It is a wonder, this age we live in. This day in the park, the bay and the sea and the bridge, I imagine to be at the tip of my pen. To think, to hear, to feel, to see, to be, to be. Yes, it is golden today with my young friend Matthew in the park.
Well, I want to thank everybody who's been so far, and if you're here, I'm thanking you. I like the mic, so I put it up like this, but I noticed that when I have the mic, I look like I'm couched over in the thing, so I'm going to stand up a little straight, go like this, so it's good. And I'm glad you took seats, because I was going to say there's plenty of seats, and always take them, but bring them back. I'm writing a book. It's called Anonymous Quotes by Famous People. Get that? Anonymous quotes by famous people. For instance, Morgan Freeman, ouch. Thomas Alva Edison, pass the salt. Napoleon, was that my chair? Okay, things like that, you get it. Anyway.
More!
Adolf Hitler, it was my fault. Anyway, so. I'm going to do 3 short ones here, for all of you. At night, somewhere in the world, in a house near the sea, after her calm of knowing years, she still has an unreachable ideal, and he is afraid to reach. At night, somewhere in the world, in a house near the sea, they are together. He reaches, holds her hand, says that love is always incomplete, imperfect. Each of them, in their own way, loves now. They say this to each other's answers. At night, somewhere in the world, in a house near the sea, as gray moves over water, a ship sounds. A or B?
B.
Okay. Thank you. No, I said A or B. Please, students, kindly listen. Okay. This is an advisement, okay? And it's called for a friend, a child, a lover, or a spouse. May the stars gently guide you and hope see you through. May you bear up and be fruitful, and your word be known as true. May your grace through kindness ever tell, have the vision to speak the truth as well. May you have the sight to see your soul eternally free. May you speak for the poor and to their good, always give the love you should. May your heart remain in peace, so that its giving will never cease. May you be healthy, hearty, and whole, have illumination bless your soul, and have the sight to see your soul eternally free. May you be the hero of your life, and your legends all be told. May you have the comfort of a hearth when your aching body is old. May your travels be received right well. Enjoy your life wherever you dwell. May you have the sight to see your soul eternally free. May you always pour when you share. The muse commune with the muse as well.
May your arts address this world's affair. May you love and always tell, and have the insight to see your soul eternally free. Eternally free, singing life's song, so we'll all see our souls eternally free. And so, I don't know if anybody, some people, I guess you know Rumi. People know Rumi?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Rumi?
Love Rumi.
Okay, so this is my take on Rumi. Drunk on the divine again and again. What flavor is it this time? Meringue, key lime, or a tangy cocoa drip? What say? In this rich life, we are all we can deliver of it, and more. Trust me, it's all up to us. Without us, it's going nowhere fast, as my mom used to say. And then some, as Dad would add. So, please, join in and indulge me. Raise that precious cup, turn and dip in, take a full measure. More. Let your vessel be overfull. Overtop it and then pour in more. Swill this divine wine. Yes, you may swill, slurp, even slop it about. For there's one thing about this vintage, there's always more where that came from. And a good time for each drop too, as Tom would say. Believe you me, as Mary might add. And as we all used to say, believe me you, before laughing. So remember, grasshopper, the chorus of one must needs be the chorus of the many. So does this divine wine serve itself, its vintner, and all the swelling hearts of those such as we who are lolling in its swells, who are as joyous as we are profoundly lost in our cups. Thank you. Thank you so much. And now we're going to bring up the feature. This is a woman that several people said, who is this person? I said, well, long story short, or short story long, I was a feature at a reading, a poetry series at Florrie's Bookstore in Pacifica, hosted by Sherry Rose Walker, who's featured here. And I was there, and Priscilla read, and I thought, I'm going to have that person featured. Lots of different reasons for that. A good voice, a gentle spirit, yet even though it's soft and gentle, she gets right in there, and pretty soon you're thinking, I've been there, or that's true, or wow, or I don't want to go there. So the point is, she really has a way of inveigling, as they say, and moving the soul of the listener. And that's really a talent, and it's very important, and I like that. So without further ado, bring her up with a nice, big, arousing round of applause. Come on, let's hear it. And she brought her crew, which is really great.
It's really great of them to come.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everybody. It's just such a pleasure. Oh, I guess I'm shorter
yeah,
than I
just,
thought.
let's
Man.
Oh, you really got, I can turn, if you move forward, I will
Okay.
tune it up so it'll pick you up.
All right.
Okay, so just, let me just, okay, go ahead, just.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that warm, warm introduction. My name is Priscilla Wathington, and as you can really easily tell from my name, I'm a Palestinian American. It's neither name, in case you're wondering. It's another story. So I'm really, really glad to be with you tonight. My poetry moves between a few different worlds, mainly the world I grew up in Jerusalem and the Middle East, and also San Francisco. And so there are some Arabic words here and there, so if you think I've mumbled, you probably just heard, which you don't know. Well, thank you so much again. I'm just going to go ahead and jump in.
Yeah, just get really close.
Get really close.
Yeah,
Okay.
There we go.
I'm going to start with a quote from Slate magazine by a man named Atif Abu Saif. This was on July 23rd. He's from Gaza. I do not want to be a small number in a large one, a part of the data. I do not want to be an image among thousands of images that the activists and sympathizers share on Twitter or post on Facebook, rain down on with likes and comments. And this poem is called Dear Facebook Feed. Dear Facebook Feed, last week when you posted for peace on repeat, or slowly being circumspect about what your father, your pastor, your old roommate might think, I believe you were wishing for the week previous, when you swallowed wild salmon quietly beside a summer creek, your only child asleep after too much TV, and asked yourself in your serious voice, is it responsible eating these almonds which prevent wrinkles and cancer in a California drought? Friendstream, I think you have peace confused with other things. Despair, for example, apathy. The Monday when a boy was beaten on his way to school, and only the really career-driven political hashtag types had time to tweet hashtag Hebron Greaves. I think that was the week your daughter's tooth fell out, and you barely recovered it from a crack your husband should have sealed before departing for Shenzhen, and you posted, motherhood, the toughest job in the world, hashtag you can do this. Treasured friends, each and every 441, do you remember May, when Beerzate's chemistry grads went on their no-job ways, and Gaza foraged another soup of thistles, and an unnamed farmer was shot harvesting potatoes dwarfed from drought? That was a quiet week, a peaceful week, one might say. My house was clean, my children serene, and we were all reveling in the true meaning of family, organic veggies, and most critically, a good night's sleep. Three birthdays. 10. When you are 10, your left leg will be shattered as you run. The pigeon you never caught, parading out past the panopticon, where the Avifana know the super is already chalked, full of skewered chickens, Frenched guinea fowls, and turkey schnitzel. 11. If you last the 11th hour, a spotted man will alight sometime after 12, lift you by your downy neck tenderly amidst sirens and blue lights, transport you to his metal nest clear of potato blossoms, tie you just so to a chair or a pole, lest you pitch, your eyes delicately fixed with knots and rags. Thus you'll abide like a nestling thrush, its father. Years later, his face will compose with fits and hiccups in a hospital sink as you rinse your swollen visage. And all the drive back, his voice will rattle like an invisible pebble in your hood as you wend by and by Mona Lisa's tower. And you'll no longer remember what kind of worm it was, chocolate or vanilla. 35. This is the third birthday. At 35, you meet a mother on a wind-blown quilt, stitched with fairies and giraffes. A patchwork of my daughter's life, she gestures, her smile stalled, like your father's, the last time you saw him at the entrance to camp, calling you home for stuffed zhazhi. Here, no chickens, only avocados, cream cheese laced with quartz and feldspar, a gift of distant glaciers, the Sierra carried off by river without any explanation of its rights. Here, no cousins chase your children's raw heels, but this stranger, tipsy with refugee Arabic, calls our babies back as they clamber mudstone cliffs. She chews daintily, demurs my question. In your past life, were you a swan or, excuse me, an interrogator at Ascalon? Sorry, excuse me. This poem comes from a dream, the kind of dream that you wake up from and there's really no other choice but to write something down. It's called Pink Phosphorus and Blue Angels. After San Francisco days of babies rolling like pillbugs in the park, Chinese grocers in the Richmond selling every kind of orange next to saturated summer fruit. Bus after bus that stop for anyone. She tucks her baby into the fog against horns of cargo ships crossing the Pacific, and sometimes the smell of forests burning across the bay. After the milk is cold and half running out his mouth, after Trader Sam's Wednesday crowd is folded into the fan's whir, she drifts away from her motherhood, the 38 Muni sliding through the avenues, the flashing liquor lights. And she dreams, not of goodnight moons or mashed pear, but of a pink bomb like a cartoon whistling as it falls, disappearing into fluff. When white clears, she sees a Medani apartment block, a balcony lined with jars, pickled beets, peppered olives, her father sipping tea from a clear brown glass. The pink bomb pauses for effect, just above his balding head, lighting the porch like a paper lantern. Then jars explode. Stone is sand. Floor is flour. Pink dust rises in a plume as blue angels circle and swoon. milking it. The jerseys are milking. We welcome their warm sucker into our babies' mouths. They will never go hungry, we smile. And the nursery decals of a gold tree with lettered leaves have not yet started to peel. You and I talk privately, so the baby will not hear my graded years languishing sacks. I empty my voice into a glass, then pour my milk down the drain, down the plumbing with carrot peels and polluted oatmeal. I will never hurt you, darling. What are you doing? My friend asks. I mean, besides nursing. I am also drinking, I return. Measure Kenya's seeds soberly, steep them until they are holy meal. Pour you the perfect glass. Then I toss the grounds into a bed full of marigolds. They will grow forever. You say, when? The cream bubbles into the black, and we sip a woman's peeled palms, her child on her back, not yet plucked, until the fog is thick and clotted. This next one is called No Crust of Peace, and some of you may recognize places in it. No crust of peace. How can that be? Asked an old man in an Irish bakery on Geary, where I was sampling pies with one bun inside me and another fully baked and covered in blueberry jam. A treat, a small adventure in a long day of diapers and aching knees, I had thought, as we crossed the gray blocks, not knowing we were all just dreams, fictions or apostasies, visions of circus freaks. How could I have known I was fog when the mincemeat tasted so real in my cheek, and the store had a cash-only policy, and my baby elbowed my bladder from within, and mauve lips beside me pleaded, more, and pulled my shirt too low, and I worried the old man would see as he backed us into the soda bread, pressing, no, I mean, where are you from? How could I have known, except that he told me there is no Palestine and no Palestinians. This next poem is for Gaza. It is about an airport. I know the words airport and Gaza don't seem to go together, but for a very brief period in history, they did. In 1998, the Yasser Arafat International Airport was built at a cost of $86 million, and it had a very short life, 3 years. And I just wanted to read you a short snippet from an article by NBC's correspondent Adrian Mung from 2005. Through 2001 and early 2002, Israeli airstrikes chipped away the shiny edges of what was once an emblem of prospective statehood. Amid Israel's concerns that Palestinians would attempt to smuggle in weapons and terrorists, the runway, radar station, and exterior camera security system were all destroyed. The Israelis were very thorough. They sent armored bulldozers onto the runway to dig up the concrete into 17 separate pieces. And what's so interesting was that article was written in 2005 at a time when there were still many employees guarding this airport with the idea that it would become useful again. But since then, it has become a sort of junkyard where people go and basically harvest it for spare parts, for construction supplies. So it's just, the images from this ghost airport are really arresting. So this poem is called Spring Comes to Yasser Arafat International Airport. I look for my heart among the wreckage, like a bear emerging from cave. Bits of song putrefy in the rubble like white lemons. Skulls split, juices gone to beetles. Sheep graze doggedly on a hill, cutting poppies off at the throat. Below, wild grass, Gaza's airport. From the hangar, a charred car beckons cautiously, its seats ripe with moths. Tales of Juha and his donkey blow around on scraps of paper, their punchlines uncertain. Women collect gravel in sacks where feet used to rest the long journey. Emerald City by way of Cairo. A kofiyeh crawls the tarmac, thin and punctured, once marking us all for safe passage. Now stripped of slogans, black thread dangling, repossessed by birds. I pluck a nest of glass and feathers and turn my back like a bear, not a woman. All right, so to end, I'm going to end with this piece called Through the Camel's Corridor into an Eye. This word I swallowed like a camel, wrapped in cellophane, so none would hear it braying over my Catholic name. I carried a camel in my belly, unbrushed by white gloves which cupped the under crescents of my breasts, the sky between my legs. Through Darwish's winding corridor, basement and deserted wing, a radioactive test stick waved me on with only one ink stain. Into an unmarked field where dead men sang hymns to ascending planes, and taxis played the same song for a decade. Habibi Anur Elayn. And when the song and Lucky's flame were soundly extinguished, a word, a hairy, regurgitated camel's cud was all I contained. Thank you so much for having me.
So I warned you before she came up here that, right, so that was really, really, really very well done. I'm so thankful, and I'm glad you could come. We are appreciative. We're going to take a small break, as is the usual thing, and I know there's other people out there who came to listen, but if you also wanted to do something on the open mic, there are some spaces here. We have about 5 or 6 poets after the break, and it's going to be good because some nice people are coming up to read. So 10 minutes, talk amongst yourselves, share your ideas, and we shall be back. Thank you so much.
No, I'm starting this one right here.
Are you sporting here? That's good. That's right. Street you do wild, loud, noisy applause, just to and you do the same thing. It's just a second ago. Seemed like a really long second. And you'll say,
Oh, she's really
You know what? I tried corporate America. To drive everybody and actually
you might just sort of show up for the light of it's under the breeze. Oh, no, he's in support. I want to see what people think of it who are actually like with care.
No, I apologize. Wrong choice of words. It's my imaginary friend Larry.
I haven't been here right away.
My whole subject is nobody can do.
Look what happens when you leave us alone. And the others, then you have the others where it's problems, right? Because they're not, I don't think they can do that.
It was.
All of a sudden there's two. The world sees two. And what was? What's the difference? One of them is not there. And I think between the psychological distance, would start looking funny stuff.
Thanks for telling us about mine.
It's like a psychological, jiu-jitsu kind of thing. And there's little parts of the idea, but essentially that's the thing. It's like, your friend Mary. Oh, excuse me.
At least it'll be new. Have you done it before?
So you're gonna come back? Every Wednesday. On Thursday nights here, it's open musical.
I'll talk about it,
I'm sending something at some point to people. It's an idea that makes like, you know, one side everybody goes, well, there they are, they can do that. So the problem here must be that. See what I'm saying? It likes, instead of the West Bank always being whatever, it's like all this other stuff, you know, hello, if you left them alone, like they left you alone, then they have. See? It's you're the problem.
Yeah, my Irish.
I'm trying to clarify what they do, and I thought, and I sent it to several people, and I've changed it as I've talked with them. So it's like,
Words mean anything, depending on what the topic. I mean, any way they get up and speak their mind. Oh, that's admirable. Bottom line, I give you credit there. But I always question. Maybe I haven't read but I know
we're all human. There's enough food calories for everybody. Probably a lot more food calories we need if we did things correctly, like the scientist says we could. And there's so much work to do. And lots of money made by it.
And it's similar to the book that Greg not being
beyond, you never know. I mean, to be alone. You know, I don't know. I think someone has control over his life. Well, I mean, I'm raised by an Italian woman. So my mother is very poetic. Poetry. So I do know that, but absolutely.
I'll send you the idea. We change it.
Oh, I'm sure. Reflect now.
Amazingly enough, we're back. And Wendy Walters is going to kick this second half off. Oh, no, she's right here. She came out. She's right here. And we have several new writers who are going to come up here when they announce that they are reading for the first time. Please give a rowdy applause. You may stomp your feet, clap your hands, tap the table, make animal noises. I will demonstrate all those things in due course, but don't let me sway you in strange ways. So anyway, let me just read the people that are coming up.
We have Wendy, Jack O'Neill, Garrett. Wait a minute. Where did I put my glasses? Well, Connie Glassen haben machen wollen, sagen machen können haben. Gewolten, handelt. It sounds German. It's just things like table, chair, pen, stuff like that. It's not really German. Oh, all right. So Jack O'Neill, Garrett Murphy, Genevieve. Is it Jen?
Yeah.
But it's Genevieve. It's not Jen like in Jennifer.
It can be Jennifer.
Okay. Well, it looks like. Then we got Fred, our mini feature, Buford, and that's Wendy, Jack, Garrett, Genevieve, Fred, and then Buford, our mini feature, who's he reads for about 8 minutes, and I'll explain how that happens to everybody. But we are ready to begin. But at first, all right. Anybody know the word paraprosdokian? Say it again. Paraprosdokian or dokian? Good. Then I'll explain it. It's a sentence which consists of 2 parts. The first is a figure of speech, and the second is an intriguing variation of the first, or some kind of play on the first. For instance, never argue with an idiot. He'll drag you down to his level and beat you with experience. Or going to church doesn't make you a Christian any more than standing in the garage makes you a car. The early bird might get the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. A clear conscience is usually the sign of a bad memory. If I agreed with you, we'd both be wrong. And I like this one. The last thing I want to do is hurt you, but it's still on the list. All right, so with those in mind, we're going to bring up Wendy, my dearly beloved, and she will
Flabbergast you with her flabbergastery. Come on up, Miss Wendy Rogers.
These are mine, right?
Yes, that's yours.
In case I forget. Oh, by the way, don't do this at home. It's professionals. You ready?
Yes. 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's short. Sorry.
It's old and cutting.
So, I just have a few short things I want to start with that are light. This one is an Arabic proverb, and I don't know who wrote it, unfortunately. But I like it because it's something that I'm very interested in getting more in tune with the space between words. Open your mouth only if what you are about to say is more beautiful than silence. And this is a small quote I found by someone named Bono. To be one, to be united is a great thing, but to respect the right to be different is maybe even greater. And these are a few short haiku I wrote about preschool moments. I work with preschool kids. Young girl sits and cries. The boys won't let her join their rough tumble games. Parade of children passing security guards sing a marching song. Lunch for 2-year-olds trying hard to feed themselves. Rice covers the floor. This is a poem that came out of a creative writing exploration that Dan and Clara Sue and I did, where we took a book and I think we opened it to any page and found a line on it. And so we wrote those phrases down, and all 3 of us came up with a poem using those phrases that were from the book that we just opened up to. And this was my poem.
In the time of luminous longings, an age when rains traveled softly and every inhabitant of the land dreamed of love, a deepening purple along the horizon began to appear every evening, followed by a sight of the strangest beauty. Storms thundered up the hill as the once buried and forgotten weather engines of the planet reawakened ancient scholars of a war on fear. Up, up, and away evaporated the sweetest of aromas, the perfume of hope, as too much talk and disagreement almost threw away an eon of zero cost-kill ratio. Everything was alive and well, and not worth the loss of perfect peace at the midnight hour. Every bit of the water on the earth overflowed tears of relief, as with blades of valor, metal rebuilt the lost wood forests, and air jubilantly spewed dazzling fire, signaling celebration, for it was the beginning of the end of all trouble. Sometimes I should read what the list was. Okay, so this is what I wrote. I am in the midst of a great experiment, a journey of many nudges and glances of paths that never end and those that lead to here. It is the point of light that opens the way. It is the point of opening that lights today. How much love can I behold? How much can I bestow? Oh, dare I call myself to think, to say, to do that vision that I am and can be true, that I may delight me and you? I dive in and out these clear, refreshing waters and leap across chasms that nowhere go, taking my first steps, breaking forbidden rules, climbing onto my wobbly bike and showing up for a stage full of all of us in all of me, for all this practice, learning how to be a total human who's being.
Thank you, Randy. So next we have Jack O'Neill, Garrett Murphy, Genevieve, and Fred before Buford Armeni who will close, and then we'll take care of these fabulous prizes, like I say, designed with your mind in mind. Oh, give them another round of applause.
Thank you, Dan. What more than marrow? The ideas of my teeth, the urges and hunger of my hair, quaint anger and healing, always the healing, just preposterous. The cooking poem begins with water. The cooking poem begins with salt. The cooking poem begins with hunger and availability. It wasn't Neil and it wasn't Frank, but I gave the band my song. I sipped my coffee and they tuned up, and we were all underage. A full circle described by walking, and now more sound in the air. Appreciation for nothing more special than life, and the large blonde woman inside us all. Capable of anything, including disinterest. Capable of anything, including disinterest. Just underneath the skin, just underneath the bark, always there, the secret way. All are gifted when meeting their power, signified
by reverse paw marks in the sand and waterborne strata. Vent, project, observe, and kind be to the worst of you. All connections say to do your very best, always. And it's fun to have people know you write poetry. They give you stuff. So, this is an Inuit song. And I thought over again my small adventures, as with a shore wind I drifted out in my kayak and thought I was in danger. My fears, those small ones that I thought so big for all the vital things I had to get and to reach. And yet, there is only one great thing, the only thing. To live to see in huts and on journeys the great day that dawns and the light that fills the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jack. I love that. You really got on the mic there. That's great. Garrett, then Genevieve, then Fred, then Buford, or maybe give her a nice. A great storyteller, this guy.
And these are two very short pieces tonight. The first is called "And You Still Call Yourself a Victim." It is true that it is that you and yours have suffered in ways that no sane person would wish, and a fraction of which none should ever have to endure. And of course you'd want folks to remember so as not to repeat. An essential safeguard it is against all forms of bigotry, and none would convict you of opposing one's oppressors, just for learning too much from them and emulating them to boot. Murdering children you do, yet you still call yourself a victim. Imprisoned outside a cell. Let's talk about the special kind of prison, one that's so insidious most inmates don't know that they're in it, or know that they are their own correction officers. One's eyes and ears are more oblivious of their sentence than they would be to their own surroundings. The local color of the inmates and the language is as ripe as one might expect from a more obvious can. This is a jail that will never be on lockup, nor will it ever confuse orange with black. It is tighter than the most maximum of securities, and yet can be broken free from with the mildest of ease. So come on, all you inmates, ease your way back to the outside world and get off that dare cell phone.
All right, now we are having Genevieve, who's coming up here. Now, my best understanding is this is a new person for the first time. So
Don't make me nervous up here.
you got to pound something on the table.
Can I first just have a show of hands of people who have ever found themselves in a negative job? All right, negative environment, negative coworkers. You guys all know that. Overbearing boss. All right, so you guys will relate to me. This is called job. I remember when I made $6.75 an hour, and I was so happy with that first job. I showed up early, stayed late without added pay, but hey, I could pay my own cell phone bill. Man, I was getting paid. And I knew they'd teach me everything. After all, being a doctor was my dream, and as far as I could tell, we were all on the same team. I took initiative early on, voiced my opinions, fixed what I saw wrong, even saved the company money, but none of what I did paid off. In the eyes of my superiors, none of what I did paid off. It seemed that the more I shined, the more I didn't belong. And the more I tried to fit in, the more I was frowned upon. I guess it was my enthusiasm that backfired onto me in the form of chasm. A negative fortress that constructed itself around the vortex of what I thought was my dream, my plan. I had it all written out. I just needed the ropes to cross the abyss, from having a lack of knowledge to knowing all the tricks. But this fortress grew with every stone and stick they threw at me. And what's sick is, I didn't fight it. I didn't try to climb it. I dug my heels in and buried myself with, I'll be damned if it would make me quit. Over time, each stick turned into bricks, concrete, and immovable twists of skips in my mind, egging me to quit, or just don't resist to these chains that have my name all over them with whips. Switching jobs, landing new industries, I literally tried all of it. Until one day, I stopped being stubborn. Finally opened my eyes, looked up and realized the sixth cycle of fortresses controlling my life. And I felt the bliss be robbed from my soul. There's no room for enthusiasm in this hellhole. Excuse me, boss. Put your shackles on my wrists? I don't think you can do this. Stay here, do as I say. Don't give me lip or I'll dock your pay. Oh, you think you have rights? Sweetie, not today. You need proof and a damn good lawyer, but the law favors me anyway. I can tape you, record you, fire you without notice, but you can't do the same. So there's the door, and don't use me as a reference, or you can stay and play the office politics game. This fortress grew so high that it turned into a dungeon. Different keepers, but the same damn chains around my neck. In interviews I asked, how much of my soul do you want in exchange for a paycheck? I've had 12 jobs in 8 years, but none of them were great. Now, you could accuse me of not being a good employee, but I did try. I did put in effort. I tried a wide range of different tactics in an attempt to work in peace, from holding my ground and standing up strong to not saying a word and accepting what was wrong. I went from enthusiastically earning $40 a day to not giving 2 flips if I ever got a raise. Hands permanently outstretched, ready for another clob, I blindly did what I could to hold on to a job. But those paychecks that engraved my name to their chains tightened around my neck, and I tried to play their game by treating them just the same or cowering down and giving in to any blame, but no matter how much buoyancy I would bring on my plate, or how much my bosses bluntly fed on my positivity, I'd just as quickly spit it out. They'd just as quickly spit me out and blame me for their cavities. So here I am thinking, I guess I'm just not cut out for this. Trying to stay stable on the corporate ladder while counting down to the weekend and waiting for my next paycheck. So what do you want to do? Asked the gentleman sitting next to me in the plane, and I sighed because I don't know. I gotta look for something different. My life definitely needs a change, but for right now, all I know for certain is a job just won't cut it. I just don't want the same.
Recitation, ladies and gentlemen. Recitation. That takes us back to the ancient days and the strangest ways of those individuals whose minds were unhinged. Anyway, Fred, come on up. And this is also the same kind of thing. The stomping of feet is...
Mine's not memorized.
It's okay. I haven't memorized. I can't do that very well.
All right. Cardboard memory. A new toy, we claim, but you're finished with cardboard boxes. I hear it in your subtlest sigh, your tramp through bubble wrap and warranty. The tragedy, I feel, is in the ripening day, your peekaboo outrage. But your mother says it's all ephemera, the box, the TV inside, your ability to surmise. Perhaps the guarantee is just that, the tragedy, she says, if there must be one, is what remains of the box. A corrugated memory, a crumpled cardboard replica of playhouse and laughter. Hold close your wave. I always play traumatic childhood at dinner parties. Tonight, after I begin with addiction, sexual assault, and schizophrenia, I pour into anecdotes, How my father killed men in the war, how my mother was a migrant farm worker, a dropout, how we lived in abject poverty. Just as I'm about to devastate, to discuss Christine, how no one has suffered like I, this little kitten of a kid, all brown velvet and black sash for hair, sits and begins to tell his own story. He says his parents collided below the ocean floor, that when his mother struggled free from the tight grip of water and old man, she rose high as a heavy royal, her form surfacing in perfectly rhymed undulation, the troll spreading as monstrous wave. His father followed close behind, displaced, tremendous, and when she exploded upon the coast, her lover soon followed. After the wave, the great event, he sprung from the soil, a strange wavelength feeding on borrowed material. He says he's patented his wavelength, that in order to ensure his identity, he needed to own his DNA. Not the material, but the code. He says you might all be wise to do the same, that we're already building better disasters, as he puts it, and that if you want to make it, you'd better hold close your wave, no matter how traumatic your childhood. Thank you.
Oh, what do you say? Oh yeah, that's
I'll do one more.
that'll be it. I love it.
Okay, our story set in glass. You were loved more than the Frank Lloyd Wright you lived in, more than anything your parents said, even the gods and heaven. When we met, you treated me like an event, more interesting than video or portraiture. The pink stalk of rhubarb in a patch of cement wedge soil. When you visited my church, you said the ancient stories in painted filigree were less important than the clear panes that protected them. And when the priest churned the wine to blood, you turned to me and said we were just like stained glass, an amorphous liquid stained to fit our story, the story over set in tempered sand.
Great timing, I love it. And, all right, so Buford is our mini teacher, but Marco Harps just walked in, so he's going to be the closer.
Thank you.
Okay? And we got to talk later on, like you say.
Okay.
So he'll be ready for 8 minutes, and then Marco Harps will close, and then Alistair Crowley and the All Night Images will be performing for you on the street out there.
Yeah, where you see him?
The Cthulhu will join them, just in case you haven't seen Cthulhu. It's like, you know, on the tuba yet already. Anyway, give him a nice round.
This is about my long teaching experience. This is the first time I was ever a classroom teacher in Atlanta. First school where I was a credentialed classroom teacher was with 7th graders in a working class neighborhood in Atlanta. There was a particularly troubled student who had a loud voice that alerted the elderly principal, elderly meaning about the age I am right now, who was always coming into the room saying, "I hear your voice over the students, so I know you don't have control of the classroom." She herself said this loudly, and I feel, this is an understatement, undermined me with the students. The big girl would say, "Mr. Bunton, What's this stuff about Mrs. Evans always coming into our room? What's wrong with her? The big kid with the big eyes and the big mouth was right in a sense. Mrs. Evans, right across the hall from our classroom, and apparently with no hearing loss and probably her mid-60s, though she seemed like mid-70s or mid-80s maybe to me at 25 years old, and probably 100 to the kids. Or maybe I was just too much trouble to encourage, and she needed me out of her hair, needed someone who could calm the big kid and any others down so that the public school classroom chaos was held to a minimum. In the classroom, I put kids in groups in this reading class, and it seemed to me not to be so bad except with the same girl, but Mrs. Evans and her controlling attitude didn't like me, or maybe for the most part the situation. I wound up being transferred to a school with an even tougher principal, a middle-aged man who was about as far away from my classroom as one could get, with me out in the most remote, portable classroom they could find to put me, it seems. But I guess that's just where the vacancy was. Though this was a classroom far away from the principal, misbehaving kids wandered around. One of them, who was supposed to be in my class, but who basically, once again, there in the 7th grade, couldn't read. So instead, he banged on the loud metal door of my classroom. The best thing that I did there in that classroom was to put up a picture of Quincy Jones's baby on the wall in the classroom. I got it from one of his magnificent albums. That's Quincy Jones' baby, one of my better behaved students asked me in a gentle fellow who stayed in his seat a lot. Yes, I said, as the baby's beautiful face stared out at our metal classroom, the out-of-control student banging not to get in, but to alert me that he was once again running away. Okay, here's the next installment. This is very chronological. This is called Back to My Home School. The Atlanta School District allowed me to transfer back to the school where I'd been an aide, so I hoped I was set for a while. I was disappointed there too. For some reason, I think there was a job available where the kids were so tough. It was 8th graders this time. They had these kids on some kind of vocational track already in middle school 4 years before graduation, and unfortunately, many of them behaved like the 4 years was way too long to get out of, quote, prison, unquote. Kids tore anything I put on the walls off and tested my wits otherwise to the max. One very bright student in the class, probably misplaced because of racial prejudice, asked why I had brought in the security guards union representative to talk to them. I'm not going to be a security guard, a young man protested. I'm going to college. I was apologetic as I could be, considering I believe that he probably was going to go to college considering his determination. I had no doubt that this young man would attend college. I keep saying this over again, but it is significant, considering his determination. But I felt it was my job to play along since I'd already been transferred twice, not of my own free will, and couldn't afford to lose my job. This next part is called Janae's opinion. My sometimes girlfriend Janae told me that she didn't feel that I or another man who taught in one of the schools where I had taught at another time, just before the other one, the many ones, belonged in the system because we were, I think she put it, too different from the rigid system. Too creatively different was what I believe she was saying all those years ago. Her words would come to fruition. When I was transferred to a final school this time and was given a small, quote, easy job of kids, when I reported male sexual harassment from an assistant principal who was evaluating me at the time and was basically trying to get me fired. After the assistant principal practically jumped over the desk when I was, quote, buttering him up, unquote, saying that I missed his guidance, a big lie to try to save my own job long enough to get a pension from the school district. Later, I learned that he was in the closet and was had harassed other male teachers. Because of that, I got a $3,000 settlement there in 1977 instead of being summarily drummed out of the system. I was leaving anyway for the comfort of San Francisco. And once again, my sister and brother-in-law, who already were moved to San Francisco some 6 months before, were waiting for my arrival. I was moving to San Francisco with money. I was set. San Francisco, here I come. I was really glad to be out of Atlanta. The weather was too hot, the school system was conservatively oppressive, and no women were interested in marrying me. Though shortly before I left, I had had the most successful romantic relationship ever at 26, going on 27 years old, with a 23-year-old woman who obviously was quite experienced in making love, was strong, independent, and mature, and challenged any regressive thinking I might have, and all likely did have, growing up in an excessively conservative town in Mobile, Alabama. And another town where an evaluator of my teaching for the Atlanta schools, an older man, said I was going to San Francisco where I belong, meaning where liberal thinking, quote, San Francisco values, as some of the more conservative spokespeople have condemned San Francisco since. I like progressive ideas and was moving to where there were many, where my well-traveled sister and many, progressive people too, and my bright New York raised brother-in-law were.
Thank you. We are closing in on the final moments. Marco Harp is going to give us his version of In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, played in D-flat major, as performed by Mel Torme and the Brooks Brothers in 1975 at the Marriott Hotel in East Palo Alto. That was before it closed. Okay, go ahead. I'm going to stop. Tell me when you want to start.
Back, I say.
No, this is my front.
Remember my friend Mike? He's always getting in the way.
Okay,
This is for Robin, from Robin to Brothers Gibb. From Robin Williams. I started a joke. We started the whole world crying. How if I'd only seen how we know that the joke was on me. I started to cry. We started the whole world laughing. Oh, if I'd only seen how we know that the joke was on me. I looked at the sky, running my hand over my eyes, and I fell out of bed, hurting my head from things that you said. Maybe I said, till I finally died. We started the whole world living. Oh, if I'd only seen how we know that the joke was on me. Oh. Good old Brothers Gibb, Bee Gees, otherwise known as Don't Detroit. The dubious dollar dimension of Detroit's dwindling pensive pensions. This would be an invitation to any municipality in the nation to rate each other's workers' pension. To relieve debtors' tension, this morally bankrupt judge says it's okay to take and add the sludge that is damn Detroit. Motown's music mutated into rap when the money got so funny. Clouds of anger clouded the sunny side of the street. Along with the smog caught in the great fake frog from the Great Lakes bilious bog, and every mutated frog under every rotting log began to smell like Magog of prophecies of old. Kids out in the cold, heaven's roads grow mold. The Promised Land 8 Mile Blues Band, Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels, Morning, Fat Tire Squeals where greed goes girl goofy, bathtub gin, gangland and garage guilty, greasy Godzilla, go fill the tank with gas from a very big bank that we have to thank for not financing working women and men. No, you can't ask to give us to give yet more concessions. I'd hate to be the one to hear your confessions. This is the legend of a hobo called Ken. Some say he started his day with cheap vino, then hopped the nearest freight train to the nearest casino. Blowing all his bucks at craps or Kino. Some say he drove an El Camino into the fountain at Caesar's Palace. Excuse me while I raise a chalice to Hobo Ken. If he was such a bum to some, how come they named a New Jersey town after him? Some say he spent most of his time in the pen. Some say he spent most of his time in Zen. Hobo Ken. If he was such a bum to some, how come they named a New Jersey town after him? Some say that he was just too good. Some say his best friend was the hood. I'm here to say it's understood. Hobo Ken. He was just a bum to some. How come they named the New Jersey town after him? Some say he died finally as a hero. Some say he died just as he lived a zero. I don't always live my life out on a limb. No, not the very next moment on a whim. But Hobo Ken. If he was just a bum to some, how come they named it New Jersey town after him? Sonny Boy Williamson, the first band to ever record a harmonica through a mic and an amplifier, taxi drivers, dispatchers, microphone. I'll tell you the story when I'm the featured. When?
We're going to talk about that after you come back.
And now for the prize.
November 24th.
Design of your mind and mine.
Don't miss me.
The Darwin Awards. They handed Danny Park a calendar starting last month or this month, but it's really close. King Tut. Condomina Skona. King Tut. All right. Bahamas Blue Holes. Go over the transom, a term for handing in a manuscript to an office where they have the transom, but the door's locked. They don't have the. You go in there and you throw it over the transom. So this is the name of the magazine. Good magazine, good poems. And then 4 from Steve Mackin. My favorite, which is Cave of the First Myth. 2010, November 2010, 20 poems in 20 minutes over 20 years. And wedding poem for Jean and Ross. Wait a minute, I gotta make sure this is not my copy. It's not. All right. And this is where is Steve right there? That
Don't miss me on the 24th of September.
That's Steve up there. He passed away a while back, but we honor him still because he came here so many times and knocked the ball out of the park. So, would you kindly shuffle these cards? Now, if you want to be the mini feature next week, like this young man was, then if you get chosen for a prize, I'd like to be the mini feature, please. And I'll say yes. I'll put your name right here, so I'll remember it next week because I'll forget. And see a bunch. So there's 8 prizes in there, so there's a high chance. If you read and you're still here, then you have a high chance of being one of these prizes. A drum roll, please. Aaron Murphy. You can choose the mini or one of the prizes, whichever your desires is. He goes for the Darwin Awards. I wouldn't have expected it, but it's a great read. It's so funny. Anyway, drum roll. Fred. You can pick one of these or the mini feature next week if that's what you like.
You have the bronze fig leafy palm with gold, fig leafy gold?
I sold it.
Oh, you
online. Got a lot of money. Okay, thank you. It's a good magazine. Send it to me. And drum roll. Karen. Karen Howe. Flavor. You have the geographics, the calendar, the Mackins.
You can also give things to others.
Yes, you can. You can take something and give it to somebody else because, you can do that. It's yours.
You don't want it.
It goes for Mackin. You are the feature, so you may pick one of these or just if you come back with the menu, whichever is your choice. I always try to figure out who's going to pick what. I'm very bad.
Yes, it's all important.
Yes.
For you.
Wrong again. Anyway, here we go. Greg Pond.
I will pass.
Greg Pond said.
I'll pass it for somebody else.
You want to do the menu?
No, that's all right. No.
All right, okay. He prefers number 8, which is Harold.
Yes.
Would you like a prize or the menu?
That's the herald day we heard the angels sing about. Yeah, it is.
Jen, your prize awaits you, or you can do the mini next week if you like.
So I know that you guess on everybody, right? On what they might pick.
Yes.
So can I have the mini?
I was wrong again. Right again. Okay, what I'm going to put in here now, you're here. I'm just going to put Jen because you don't tell me whether it's Jennifer, whatever. So that's good. So there's our next week's feature right there. She was waving her hand. How many next week's feature? There we go. Ann Leonard, but I think she's left, right? Okay. Owen. And then Mark. Mark Lars.
I don't want to be crestfallen if he takes what I don't want to see what, you know what I mean? I don't know what I mean.
Can you clarify that?
No, I certainly shan't. I have to have a frying pan and a little flame and butter. Then I would clutter. What?
Clarify.
See, he's a teacher, and you guys got to be cool.
And students are in my charge. Think about that.
It says blue, so I have to take it. Bahamas blue rules. Oh no, this is the card.
That's the calendar.
Oh,
it's on the calendar allowing you to
I'm
schedule
under a lot
your
of
life.
strain, so I need a calendar. Get it calmed down. What do you
Palmer. He left. Okay. And Jack O'Neill. You have either of these fine publications.
Same for next week.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Anybody want this first hand?
I'll take it.
There you go. First hand. No one wants King Tut. There we go. I wish I knew the whole song. Not the latest song. Remember that? No one remembers that? Steve Martin. Yes. Okay. Oh, all right.
He said comedy is not pretty. Steve Martin said that.
The most important thing, element of comedy is time. I've got to find something here. Hold on. Okay.
Oh my God, I forgot. I did forget something important, and I should have announced this while Stephanie Manning was still here. She is the feature next week.
Oh my
So
God.
Stephanie Manning, the person who came up here, knew very well. She's going to be the feature next week, and I forgot to say that before she left, so she would hear me say it. Yes, dear.
And I'm Jules, I'm the feature on September the 3rd.
Wait a minute. Oh, you're Andre.
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay, now we've finally met. This is, we have two features on that date, and he is one of the Sherry Rose Walker and you. So we're going to have a double feature.